What's up, guys? This is Amine. I wanted to thank you guys for making me a part of Cinema Unbound 2021. I go by the name of Amine. I am a recording artist, singer, songwriter, director from Portland, Oregon. I grew up making most of my low budget music videos and short film ideas here in this city. So for me, I think what was so special about being born here and growing up here was the landscape and just being able to kind of have creative freedom and have a setting that I knew not many people had. I think being able to go to the beach an hour out and being able to go to the forest 30 minutes out is just so cool. We don't understand how lucky we are to be able to have the type of scenery that we have. I think the main reason I love being from Portland is just the fact that we kind of are like the underdogs, My favorite thing when I travel outside of Portland is to tell people I'm from Portland. I don't really like to act like I'm from some huge city or I know it all. I think me being from Portland kind of gives me a different perspective, and we, as a city have a lot of growing to do. But I do believe that being from here, I'm really proud of it, I think for me, cinema right now matters more than ever, and music as well, just because, people are in quarantine. Even the way I couldn't be here in person today, I think people now more than ever need the arts, and they need some sort of motivation to get them out of bed every day, some sort of motivation to call their family, some sort of motivation to feel worthy, to feel related to. Arts really, really helps me in my hardest times. And some of us as filmmakers, songwriters, never really understand the type of impact we kind of make on people. So if you're an inspiring filmmaker or you are a aspiring music artist, then you should know that, you have a huge job to do, and people will be watching you every step of the way. So you should make sure you are proud of your work. And yeah, I think that's where I would love to end it. So much love, and thank you for having me, guys.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Keisha Jarrett, and I'm the Managing Director of Artist Repertory Theater here in Portland. I can't believe it's been 1 year since our inaugural Cinema Unbound Awards. Although we can't physically gather together tonight in the same way, I'm honored to be a part of the second annual awards and to welcome even more brilliant artists, producers, directors, animators, and more to our virtual stage tonight. I'm also humbled that due to the nature of this virtual event, we can welcome even more folks. We have an unprecedented audience turnout tonight to celebrate these amazing Cinema Unbound honorees. And on behalf of the Portland Art Museum and Northwest Film Center, I welcome you to the party. And thank you for tuning in to support art, new media, and film. It's my pleasure to welcome you tonight to honor our incredible awardees and the organization that's fostered and celebrated creative voices for 50 years. Since 1971, the Northwest Film Center has been a place where artists and audiences explore our region and the world through cinema and cinematic storytelling in all its forms. Our mission is now to expand the reach of cinema as an art form and challenge for whom, by whom, and how stories can be told. 50 years later, we're still pushing boundaries, taking chances, and in awe of artists that embody this mission, despite the year that was 2020. Last year, I kicked off the awards by asking, is there anything more Portland style than an event like this? One that honors not only incredible artists who obviously deserve accolades for everything they've accomplished in expanding the field of cinema and all it can do? You know what? But I take that back. This might be the most Portland event I've ever been a part of. I mean, half virtual event, but with people not only from Portland, but from around the country and the world. Half quirky drive-in block party? That spirit of global reach and hyper-unique local flair embodies both the artistic community of the Northwest and the body of work of tonight's honorees. What's more unbound than that? Of course, we're here tonight to both honor our amazing Cinema Unbound artists, but also to celebrate the place that brought all these seemingly disparate people together, the Northwest Film Center and the Portland Art Museum. And with that, I am pleased to introduce the director of the Northwest Film Center, Amy Dotson.
What a year it's been since we last saw each other. Thank you, Keisha, and thank you all so much for being with us tonight, whether in person at our Cinema Unbound Drive-In or wherever you're tuning in from around the world. I'm so happy to be with you all tonight. Even though we're not physically together, I can feel y'all's gorgeous presence, and it gives me hope. When I first moved to Portland a little over a year ago and started at the Northwest Film Center, I began brainstorming with multi-hyphenate artists and makers who refused to let any one genre, medium, or style hold them back from creating exceptional work. That's the reason we're here. And while everything else has swirled around us and turned us upside down, that spark hasn't changed. The Cinema Unbound Awards is an annual celebration of boundary-breaking multimedia storytellers working at the intersection of art and cinema, honoring artists and nonconformists who are not content to be contained, but instead expand the notion of what's possible. Tonight's Cinema Unbound honorees defy expectations and refuse to embrace labels, using their creative vision to inspire and push us to look at what is beyond the norm. Though born out of the tradition of film, Cinema Unbound artists expand the reach of cinema as an art form to challenge for whom, by whom, and how stories can be told. We celebrate tonight's artists who embody the Cinema Unbound vision, an unflinching attitude to embrace the unknown, to revel in the possibility of what can be. And by the way, this evening happens to be the Northwest Film Center's 50th birthday, and despite it all, 50 is fabulous. Special thanks to our amazing staff, partners, sponsors, and collaborators who make all of this possible. So what does the future hold? Who knows? But let's create it together. No longer just coloring outside the lines, but redrawing the lines entirely. Let us be inspired by these artists tonight who are no longer content to be contained to do the same. Guillermo del Toro is the perfect person to kick off the 2021 Cinema Unbound Awards. He truly defies labels, working beyond the confines of medium or genre. His work has brought us fairy tales, Academy Award-winning films, and series featuring Hellboys, troll hunters, and wizards galore. And like Guillermo, honoree Alex Bulkley's impact in media and animation knows no bounds. From his company Shadow Machine's work on the legendary BoJack Horseman to his current project as producer on Guillermo's upcoming epic stop-motion animated Pinocchio for Netflix, made right here in Portland.
Hello, I am Guillermo del Toro, and I'm here to talk a little bit about Alex, who is receiving your award tonight. I wish I could be there, but alas, I'm here in a very cold Toronto because I'm of the age and weight that requires a little caution when dealing with COVID or traveling. Alex is a great partner, not only of the artist, which in my case I can speak of with authority, but of the medium he has chosen. He has been a key piece of animation in America and certainly worldwide, keeping the art alive, an art that is endangered, that is constantly surrounded by the computer craft that is pulling us away from handcrafted animation in many ways. He has stood by the side of many animators, many crazy projects, including my own. And normally the role of producer comes with this preconception that the producer has to be tough, has to be rough, has to be brutal. But Alex is nothing but gentle and thoughtful and a champion of the arts and a champion of the artist. He is the perfect example of keeping cinema unbound from reality while bound to reality. He deals with budgets and dates and creativity and story and everything like a real partner, but it keeps you away from feeling a crisis, away from feeling the constraints of time and money, while keeping close tabs on the physical realities of executing a film. I remember at one point when we were going through a huge crisis, and I was very flustered, and that has happened more than once, by the way. Alex, I turned to him, and he seemed very calm, very zen, and he said, "Everything is going to be all right." And I chose to believe him. And this is his great gift, that he can fool a man of my age with my experience into believing everything was going to be all right. And the wonderful thing is, it was. The key of the producer is to be believed in, to be trusted, and to keep the flag waving for the art form he has chosen. Congratulations, and have a great night.
Cinema Unbound. Wow, thank you. This is such an incredible honor. I literally wouldn't be here in Portland doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for Guillermo. So Guillermo, thank you, and thank you for the introduction. Amy Dotson, December, and the whole team from the Northwest Film Center. Don and the whole team from the Portland Art Museum, thank you for all the support. It matters, and it's just an incredible thing to be a part of, especially with such amazing and amongst such amazing filmmakers. The Cinema Unbound Award, what it represents and what it means is really personal to me. I think back to where I started in this long, crazy, winding path to where I've gotten to today. I think of my first Super 8 film teacher, Stan Brackage, who taught me what it means to be experimental in film, what it means to be independent in cinema. When I got to LA, my first job working for David Lynch taught me that every single frame matters. Every single musical note, every single brushstroke matters. One of my oldest and closest friends growing up, Corey Campadonico, he and I started Shadow Machine together more than 20 years ago. And it was that friendship, that artistic collaboration, and that drive to do the coolest stuff we can possibly do that continues to fuel the fire. Taught me to love the process. And I'll never forget a meeting we had in some crappy office building next to a freeway in Atlanta with a guy named Mike Lazo. Mike Lazo was building a block of programming called Adult Swim. He was like, "Guys, animation is the frontier. In animation, you can do anything. In animation, you can literally go anywhere." And it was just mind blown. We dove into animation head first, not because we'd planned to, not because it necessarily made sense, but because it was awesome. And it was true. It was a frontier of innovation, experimenting. Every single frame was literally a work of art, and every single frame mattered. The Cinema Unbound Award is a particular and personal honor because it truly reflects that same spirit that was taught to me to instill in the work that I do. As a producer, it is literally my job to make sure that every writer, every director, every artist, and every creator has their voice and vision successfully onto the screen, regardless of the time, regardless of the money, regardless of global pandemics. This award reminds me and inspires me to carry that spirit of boundless cinema forward. It really is such a great honor. Thank you.
What an incredible start to our evening. Thank you so much, Guillermo, and congratulations, Alex. Our next awardee truly embodies the link between cinema and art. Rather, not even the link, but the inextricable tie that binds both together as one. Garrett Bradley works across narrative, documentary, and experimental modes of filmmaking to address themes such as race, class, familial relationships, social justice, Southern culture, and the history of film in the United States. In January 2020, Bradley became the first Black woman to win the Best Director Award in the U.S. documentary competition at Sundance for her feature-length documentary Time. Garrett's piece Time is in the Oscar conversation, and her first solo show is currently up at MoMA. It brings me great joy to welcome our next presenter, who I had the honor of meeting last year when he received one of the very first Cinema Unbound Awards. Please help me welcome Rajendra Roy, MoMA's curator of film, to the virtual stage as he introduces the singular Garrett Bradley. Welcome, Raj.
Hello, Portland. It's great to see you. God, I wish I was there. It seems like another lifetime ago that I was with you at the inaugural Cinema Unbound Awards in March of 2020. Wow, has the world changed since then? But something that I hold very dear to my heart, my experience with all of you in Portland. I want to congratulate Amy and Brian and everyone at the Northwest Film Center and the Portland Art Museum for this second round of the Cinema Unbound Awards. And Garrett Bradley. Wow. Let me just tell you a story of how I met Garrett. So back in 2014, the Museum of Modern Art discovered in its archives the unassembled footage for what would have been, we discovered, the first feature film with an all-Black cast. It was starred and was created as a vehicle for Burt Williams, who was an incredible vaudevillian actor who was transitioning to this newish still art form of film back in 1914. It was called the Lime Kiln Club Field Day, or at least that's what we call it based on the setting of the film. And it was remarkable in many, many ways for its setting in a middle-class milieu, for this all-Black cast with Burt, who performed in blackface as a accommodation to white audiences, as a racist emblem of the times when a Black star was not accepted on screen and on stage without that makeup. But because Burt did that, and because of the clout he has as a star, he was able to make sure that no one else in the cast, none of the other Black actors, were forced to wear that racist makeup. And we could see, because we had the intakes and the outtakes, that it was a diverse crew. So you had a white crew working with Black assistant directors and actors. It was a dream of a future that was not to come, sadly. Not only was the film hidden from history, but that type of integrated experience on a movie set was something that was not realized for many decades after. As part of this discovery, we knew that we needed to put this material in the hands of artists, because it's one thing for curators to work on a project and envision what an artist might have done with a final cut film. It's another thing entirely to put it in the hands of an actual artist, which is exactly what happened. I was introduced to Garrett through Catherine Gund, amazing filmmaker, who was going to work with Garrett. And Garrett's idea was to take this footage and integrate it into a vision of many lost stories of Black lives and Black artists. And the resulting work is called America. And we are so, so proud that that work is now on view in installation form at MoMA. We'd love for you all to come to New York and see it in our galleries. And it's also an amazing film that you can experience in cinemas when they can reopen again. From there, I've watched Garrett soar to unimagined heights, even in recent years. To be a Black woman to win Best Director at Sundance in the documentary category was another milestone that she's achieved very early on, I have to say, in her career. And that was for Time, of course, which was the opening film of our Contenders series, our choices for Best of the Year. And Time is an incredible, remarkable, poignant, incredibly relevant work for our times, and one that required a lot of bravery to kind of stop midstream, put aside what you thought your project was, and refocus on a new version of that based on important new material is something that takes a lot of courage and a ton of vision. And Garrett has both of those to spare. So it is my honor to celebrate her and to support her work and to be here as a platform for her whenever she has more for us. She's an essential part of the MoMA family, and now will be an essential part of the Portland family. Congratulations, Garrett. I'm so, so proud of you.
Wow. Good evening, everybody. I wish I was there with you, and I'm just here looking at this little green screen, and hopefully you can feel all the love. I want to thank the Northwest Film Center and the Portland Art Museum for this incredible honor. I can't tell you what it means to be a part of a community of so many other great artists and thinkers and curators and producers and makers that I share this award with. I see it really as a celebration of the gray area of intersectionality, of a place where practice and function and ideas, geographies, spaces, things that might seem to even be in contradiction with one another can be in dialogue to help us gain new understandings of ourselves and to pave a path for a more transparent and just and loving world. So I thank you so much for this. And I hope that you remain safe and remain positive out there. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tim Williams, Executive Director of Oregon Film, and I'm just in awe of the caliber of tonight's guests. It's so inspiring to witness a moment in history where artists are so vital. I'm so grateful to be here tonight to witness the Film Center's great vision for the future of cinema in Portland and beyond. And the first thing I'd like to say to our next presenter and awardee is congratulations. Chloé Zhao and Mollye Asher, along with winning the Golden Lion at Venice this year, were just nominated for 4 Golden Globes for their film Nomadland, including Best Motion Picture. It's fitting that Chloé introduces the next Cinema Unbound Award nominee, considering they are a producer-director dream team, working together on Nomadland, as well as The Writer, an extraordinary film I was lucky to see when Chloé screened it during a visit at the U of O not too long ago, and Songs My Brother Taught Me. But Molly's work with Chloé is only the beginning. She lends her producing talents to so many artists who blur the lines between fact and fiction in search of the truth. I'm so inspired by Molly's commitment to unboundness and her risk-taking approach to bring out the very best in the talent she supports. So here's Chloé to tell you more about producer extraordinaire Mollye Asher.
So I remember the darkest day of my career was the day that I found out the funding for Songs My Brothers Told Me fall through again. And that means we have to wait for, I don't know, another year. I called Mollye and I said, look, this is how much money we have left in the bank. What do you think? And she said, you know what? I'm excited. I'm excited we're at this point and this is how much money we have and we're going to make it happen. And that's what I needed to hear. And she followed through on those words every day in a really gruesome shoe. And when the writer came along, I had even less budget because I only can afford a 5-person crew. I thought, what producer would want to come out and do this? And Mollye said, tell me when to get on the plane. And she did every job a person could possibly do on a set and helped me pull the writer together. So when Nomadland came about, I said, girl, you gotta come because can't do this without you. You know, it's in those darkest times that I think the character of a great producer really shows. And Mollye has shown that over and over and over in the times I've worked with her. She has also supported many great filmmakers, and I think the results speak for themselves. Mollye has always said to me, for me, always start with the filmmaker. And she is humble and curious and hardworking and talented. And she's always put her filmmaker first and always been there for them as a producer and as a friend. So it's my great pleasure to introduce Mollye and to present her with the Cinema Unbound Award. Congratulations, Mollye.
Thank you. Thank you, Chloé. When I first heard that you were going to be the one presenting this honor to me, I immediately started crying. So I'm kind of glad that this is not in person because I would probably be a blubbering idiot. But thank you. Thank you with all my heart. And thank you to Amy at the Northwest Film Center and Brian at the Portland Art Museum. Brian, I wish that I could thank you and meet you in person. And Amy, I gained so much from your guidance and your encouragement from all the way back with Chloé and my first film, Songs My Brothers Taught Me. It's so important that early in one's career that there are people like you who embrace filmmakers and projects that don't necessarily fit into a mold. So thank you for your continued support and for this award, which is, I think, probably the most punk rock ever honor there is. That being said, I would really like to share this award with Chloé and also with Josh Richards. Not only am I way too uncool on my own, but it is their vision as director and DP that have inspired me over the past 10 years of working together as a producer to think outside the box. I'll always remember this one particular pitch to these financiers for our first film. We had everything prepared. We had our logline rehearsed. We had these beautiful pictures of the majestic Badlands. We had this wonderful footage that Chloé took on the Pine Ridge Reservation with the actor that we had cast. And then there was complete silence, just blank stares. And then eventually we heard what we would continue to hear over and over and over again, which was, there's not really an audience for a movie with non-actors. Or it's execution dependent, so come back for finishing funds. Well, we persevered and we made the film with the small resources that we had. And I think it was during that process of making our first film that Chloé and Josh found their voices and developed their voices. And it was through that process that I, as a producer, developed the best way that I could create an environment for them to express it. We discovered that the lighter the footprint, the deeper we could dive into a world that's not our own and let the environment and the people be our guideposts. As an indie producer, you often have to think outside the box because the industry isn't constructed to fit anything that other than what's been done before. But when you're working with partners like Chloé and Josh, that necessity to think outside of the box becomes a choice. And with that choice, there's these opportunities for risks. And so whether it's we're shooting The Rider with our little family of 6 in the sprawling plains of the Badlands, or we're shooting Nomadland with a bit bigger of a family, a movie star, and in the massive Amazon warehouse, there's still that same feeling that we're either making something wildly insane or something truly special. And I think it's that freedom that I believe pushes the boundaries of what a movie can be. As a producer, I want to make movies that break barriers and that speak truths. And over the time of working with Chloe and Josh, I've realized that you can't wait for the industry and the powers that be. You have to just go and do your thing, make your own rule book, and let them catch up with you. Thank you again for this honor. It is inspiring and a real validation, and I hope that it's also an inspiration to other filmmakers out there. Cheers to Cinema Unbound. Thank you.
This night is incredible, but the vision that inspires the work of the Northwest Film Center and the Portland Art Museum can't happen without your support. Text CUA 2021 to 44321 to donate now. Now, before we get back to the honorees, I'd like to welcome a few special guests who wanted to send over a message.
Hi, I'm Howard Mitchell, also known as Gato, and I'm an artist and a painter working in Portland as a film director for about 10 years. Cinema Unbound, what does that mean to me? It means the possibilities are infinite. Artists are unshackled and untethered by genteel formalities. That's what Cinema Unbound means to me. Why do the arts matter? Well, really, since the recorded history of time, art has been with us and justifies who we are. It helps us understand each other also, regardless of ethnicity or gender or political persuasions. And what's so special about the art scene here in Portland? Well, for me, it's more than beer or the quirky restaurants that we find around, even though I love those. The Portland Art Museum has expanded and is expanding, and there are galleries all over the city of all sizes. And the art scene here is just thriving because all kinds of art can be found here and very powerful, which is unbounding, by the way. And why support the Northwest Film Center? Well, for me, it's like been the CBGBs of the Northwest. It's a place I can go to and find something cutting edge or powerful or both. It's a place where I've been able to thrive as an African-American artist. It's kept me going. And because it's the cultural intersection in Portland where art and cinema collide.
Hi everybody, I'm David Kress. I'm the producer of Shrill, Portlandia, Documentary Now. I'm right here on the Shrill stages in Portland, Oregon, and I just want to invite you to support the Film Center in any way you can. The Cinema Unbound Awards are amazing. Now with the media landscaping changing so much, it's more important than ever for us to keep in touch with these different voices. So please join me in supporting the Film Center.
Hey Portland, I thought I'd go unbounded with my backdrop. Greetings from the East Coast. My name is Mary Blair, and I'm the chair of the Northwest Film Center Committee. I am not an artist, but like all of you out there, I am passionate about stories and the power they hold to connect us. I love the word liminal. It indicates a threshold, a transition, a transformation. I believe the Northwest Film Center is in a liminal space right now, transitioning between what was and what's next. Tonight's honorees are the vanguard of a multitude of amazing storytellers waiting to seize our imagination. By supporting the Northwest Film Center, you can turbocharge a world where art and cinema collide, where unboundedness can germinate, where a bigger world will be revealed. Cheers, and thanks for being here tonight, whether you're in a car, or on a couch, or on a beach.
Good evening. I'm Linda Andrews, and I'm a trustee at the Portland Art Museum. I have been a member of the Northwest Film Center Committee for about 10 years. Bill Foster invited me on the committee, and I couldn't say no. I have seen many positive changes, and I really enjoy the movies, but I am no expert. I think it's wonderful to see cinema and the arts meld together, to see and think and explore all the art forms. The Portland art scene is really exciting and pushes my thinking and curiosity. Please help support the Northwest Film Center to bring alive cinema and for all to enjoy and learn from.
Hi, my name is Roger Michele, and I have the honor of serving on the Board of Trustees for the Portland Art Museum and the Northwest Film Center. Now, this past year has been a challenging year for all of us, whether it be the global pandemic, or the social and political unrest, or simply the inability to be with family and friends the way we traditionally have been in the past. Now, having said all of that, it's more important than ever that we support and embrace the arts, creativity, self-expression, and the unique and distinct and diverse voices that we have across all of our communities. Now, I'm proud to say that Cinema Unbound and the Portland International Film Festival helps us do all of those things in a powerful and compelling way. And what gets me most excited is the fact that it goes way beyond just simply the Portland community, but now internationally. So I, for one, I am terribly excited to experience this event and see all the amazing films, content, and conversations that are created by bringing this to life for our community. Look forward to this and even more things in the future as we move forward. All the best and enjoy. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Roland Darwin. I'm a filmmaker in Portland, Oregon. My first feature film, Borufa, premiered last year at Pit 43 in competition in the feature section. And so I have a special fondness for PIF and for the Northwest Film Center. And making a film, in my experience, is years of heartache and humiliations. And amidst that, a few moments of joy. So we remember, I think, forever the people who supported us and believed in us. And I extend my gratitude to the Northwest Film Center for supporting and believing in our film, and I am happy to reciprocate that support. And I invite you to support them as well, and support local and global cinema, and have a wonderful festival.
The Northwest Film Center has always been my favorite place to watch films. The programming is so well curated, and there's such a diverse range of films being screened there. I've had the opportunity to watch films by Shireen Nishat, a renowned female Iranian filmmaker, as well as Leah Warshawski's Big Sonia, which screened during the Portland Jewish Film Festival. Both of these female filmmakers have been a huge inspiration for my work. I've also had the opportunity to see the works of my fellow filmmakers here in Portland and the Northwest, which is so important in building community within Portland's art scene. The Northwest Film Center really amplifies the voices of a diverse group of filmmakers, especially BIPOC filmmakers like myself. Supporting the Northwest Film Center will help us to bring our messages of hope and positivity to the world.
Hi, I'm Rose Bond. I'm an animator, media artist, and a Portlander. For a lot of people in this town, the Film Center is a place to see international movies. But as a filmmaker, it's much more than that to me. It was a place where I first met Gus Van Sant. We were screening our first shorts. But even more consequential is it's the place where I made my first animation. Thank you, Roger Kukas, who taught that art of animation class. You showed some international shorts, animations that totally blew my mind and made me know that my drawings could move. Boom, big life change. So life is a journey, and I'm reconnecting now with the Film Center because of Cinema Unbound. It feels like the energy and the edge is back, but with a twist. What's really important to me is that deep current of community. I'll never forget the place where I was brought out as a filmmaker, where there was a space for underrepresented voices. And that mission is now fused with a new one. Cinema Unbound is raising a banner and a visibility for Portland's nonconformists. It's pushing our frame breakers and our media expanders onto the national and the international stage. Cinema Unbound, it's good and it's worth supporting.
Thank you all for your donations and to our friends for those kind words. And now I'd like to welcome Portland Art Museum's director, Brian Fariso.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Brian Fariso, director of the Portland Art Museum. I'm so honored that you could be here with us tonight. Although this year has been one of endless transition, challenge, and change, it is hopeful to be part of an organization that embodies newness and embraces the future. It is both hard to believe and impossible not to that the Northwest Film Center has been touching individuals' lives for over 50 years. The Film Center has a unique ability to not only curate exceptional work touching thousands, but to also inspire children who have seen their imaginations come to life during workshops and engage endless filmmakers who have honed their craft in Film Center classes to produce some of the best film and visual art of the century. In all, we are so proud that those who participate in the Film Center have had life-changing experiences in front of the screen, inside the museum galleries, or in the classroom.
Since third grade, every summer I've taken classes at Northwest Film Center. I've learned how to edit, use different programs, and make storyboards. When I started, I was very excited by green screen and what I could do on an iPad. Now, after 7 years of classes, I'm using 8mm and 16mm black and white film. Northwest Film Center guided me as I continue to develop my own vision and love for film.
Cinema and cinematic storytellers have always been at the forefront of unboundedness that brought us here tonight. To celebrate artists that resist strict definitions and who see cinema as a way of embracing and informing the future. Not shying away from innovation, but being in tandem with its creation. I'm proud to witness this historic moment, especially as Amy and the Film Center and museum teams work tirelessly with our supporters to realize a vision that is unbound. It makes me extremely proud to be part of an organization that boldly tackles this expanding definition of film and art, seeing it as an opportunity for greatness. The individuals we are honoring remind us that cinema is ever malleable and its ability to transform and engage can take endless forms. I'm excited now to welcome our next Cinema Unbound honoree, someone who has said that he now feels more unbound creatively than he ever has, Steve McQueen. As a contemporary artist of great significance, I remember when we showcased his 1998 drum roll in our contemporary gallery several years ago. Moving into that space, you were immediately immersed into new ways of seeing, creating visceral and all-consuming emotional and physical responses. The transformative power of drum roll embodies the honorees ethos. One gets lost in Steve McQueen's work, consumed by the intricacies of the craft and the power of the storytelling. Unbound is truly the best word to describe our next honoree. Welcoming Steve McQueen is Charles Burnett, whose first film, Killer of Sheep, is a landmark of both American independent and African American cinema. His film is one of the first 50 culturally significant films selected for preservation in the Library of Congress. His work, like Steve's, recognized as a timeless wonder.
Hi, I'm Charles Burnett, and I'm pleased to be here to present the Cinema Unbound Award to Steve McQueen. He exemplifies everything the award stands for. His work in the arts have pushed the envelope, and he will continue to have an impact for years to come. His contributions will encourage future artists to seek new ways and concepts to tell their unique stories and to illuminate the truth. One of the reasons I was happy to be here to give you this award, because I have a chance to tell you how much I appreciate your work, and particularly in small acts. the last episode on education was so meaningful to me because when I was in grade school, I went to a situation. I was in a situation just like that. We had a school that for special education for kids that had a speech problem, and so there was a lot of us who had so many issues when we were going to school, and that kid in the film was somewhat me in a sense because, I mean, when I was going to elementary school, I had this awful speech impediment. I couldn't speak at all, and most of the kids in the class had some issue with something, handicap in some way or another, or something was impeding them. And anyway, so when we went to another school, and I graduated from there and went to a junior high school, they had no speech class. And they just kept people who had these issues in a separate classroom. And we had no training or instructions or aid or anything. And so the teachers were like really not very nurturing. In fact, they shouldn't have been there because even though they were doing this, they looked at us like we were dumb and had issues that were never going to be corrected. And I remember this one teacher who came down the aisle, walked down in the classroom and pointed to each student, "You're not going to be anything. You're not going to be anything." And he came to me and said, "You're not going to be anything." And I remember that very vividly, and it was very painful. But actually, it had some benefit because I remember walking home from school and saying, looking back at this gray, looked like it was a mausoleum or something, school. And I said, I'm going to comment on this. I'm going to write about this and do something because I saw how it destroyed young people, kids and everything. And that's what actually got me in the film, was the fact that I wanted to say something about the school. And I made a promise to myself that at some point I'm going to comment on this and say how they destroyed, the youth in my neighborhood. And that's, you ask why the riots. It's because, we were so discouraged and not looked on as being productive or ever will be productive. And all because of the way the system was set up and the teachers that were overworked and never had an interest or didn't have an interest. There were some probably good teachers there, but anyway. And so it was years later that when I got into film because I made this promise that I was going to do something, either documentary, write, or do something about exposing the school conditions that I went to. And so I really appreciate that film a lot, and I thank you for it. And this gives me an opportunity to thank you personally and say, you're talking about illuminating the truth. It's all in your work, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Charles, for presenting me this award. I remember seeing your film Killer Sheep for the first time and what an effect it had on me. Thank you, the Portland Art Museum and the Northwest Film Center Committee for this wonderful honor and all what you do for Portland, Oregon. I like to say that I've always tried to search for the truth in my work, be it Hunger, with a political prisoner, Bobby Sands, or with 12 Years a Slave, with Solomon Northup. I've always tried to look at places where maybe it would be uncomfortable, but having to go there because that's what we as artists do. We try to sort of get to the truth in order to sort of reflect who we are as human beings. So I'd like to say thank you for this honor. And thank you for giving this honor to Small Axe and what it has represented so many people. It sort of reverberated it in a way. And I didn't have any idea that it would have that kind of effect. And it just tells me that small is big, and it humbles me. But thank you so much for your support and this amazing, amazing honor. Thank you.
Hi, I'm John Goodwin, Major Gifts Officer here at the Portland Art Museum. Our final guests of the night, both those making the introductory remarks and the honoree himself, embody the Unbound ethos to an incredible degree. Pink Martini's Thomas Lauderdale, photographer Paige Powell, and poet Walt Curtis, what can I say? You're not only incredible assets to the history of art and media in Portland and the world, but your unboundness has influenced countless artists in their own right. You all really embody what Portland means artistically to the rest of the world, in conversation with the community, but as a global endeavor. And the trifecta of these incredible artists across different media alongside our final honoree, it's a true dose of Portland magic. Gus Van Sant's filmography is as expansive as the American West and as close to home as the city we're all celebrating tonight. His work defined a generation of American cinema. He's always embraced the rich, cinematic, and emotional landscape of the Northwest, but has a reverence for the craft and the art of filmmaking that reaches far beyond. I mean, who remakes Psycho shot for shot? It's artists like Gus who not only make film, but also paintings, music videos, and fashion miniseries like his recent innovative work for the Italian luxury fashion house Gucci. It's that extraordinary diversity that excites me, and it guides my work here at the museum and the Film Center. And it reminds me how essential it is to seek out creative communities, especially in times of transition. After all, you may not know, but he got his start right here at the Northwest Film Center. Please help me welcome Thomas, Paige, and Walt, followed by our final Cinema Unbound Award nominee of the evening, my talented friend, Gus Van Sant.
Hi, it's Paige Powell here, and I'm very happy to be presenting the Cinema Unbound Award to my friend Gus Van Sant alongside my pals Thomas Lauderdale of Pink Martini and Walt Curtis, the unofficial poet laureate of Portland. With his longtime affiliation with the Northwest Film Center and Portland Art Museum, he has been a mega inspiration to numerous upcoming young artists. Gus is a down-to-earth, funny, shy, and wonderful great guy.
It's great about your films, Gus. You captured Portland in 1983. That no longer exists. I used to work on Skid Row, with... Anyway, when you look at the early films, you will see a Portland that no longer exists. Is that true?
It's true, yes. I met Paige through Gus, actually. I think the way that I met Gus Van Sant was... he was singing... Moon River. No, he was singing cowboy songs. Bill Foster from the Film Center wanted Gus to perform some of his cowboy songs and songs about golf. So we put together a little band and played at, what was that place? Joe Bar on Northwest 23rd back in 1995. Oh, Restless. Restless. I played a minister.
Gus is a Portlander, isn't he? I want him to have it. I want there to be a Gus Van Sant Day, the mayor and the city council. So that's what I'm arguing for.
Yeah, that's a good. That's a good one. Yes. He's also a great singer. He's sung with us in Palm Desert. He sang with us in Portland. We recorded with him. We recorded Moon River. It's the best version of Moon River I think ever recorded. He's a painter. He's a chef. He's a director. He's a musician. He's a blueberry picker.
Actually, I remember Gus
novelist
putting $1 million in the outside in for the homeless young kids. The homeless young kids in Portland.
Activist.
Philanthropist.
Also, he's really stood up to making Portland a better place for people without any discrimination of background, race, color, and so many people moved to Portland, Oregon because of Gus Van Sant's film, My Own Private Eye.
That's the big one.
Yeah, that's the big one.
He's kind of a shy, self-effacing for being from Hollywood. Hollywood's full of corruption, tumult.
It is?
Scandal. Oh, come on, Thomas, you talk about Hollywood.
I didn't know.
And his moment in the sun has come. And it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. And we love you, Gus, and this is...
Cheers.
Cheers, yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be here tonight for Gus Van Sant. There is a friend. There is such a beautiful human being. I had the opportunity to work with him, and I really touched his work with my hand. I'm still really, a big fan of him. I grew up with his work, with his movies, and would be really beautiful to hug him tonight. But maybe the only thing that I can do is to celebrate with him. So Gus, I'm sending a big kiss from Rome, from Italy. I miss you so much, and thank you again. Thank you for what you did and what you are doing, and still, work in that way that is such, a unique way to tell, our society and to talk about our generation. So thank you again.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for that great introduction. And hello, everyone up in Portland and wherever else you are, being part of the Cinema Unbound. My history in Oregon, it goes back to 1970, and my history with the Northwest Film Center started back then when I remember reading in the local paper that all of the entries to the Northwest Film Festival that year, which was a local festival, which included Washington, Montana, Idaho, and Oregon. And the entries were all scheduled over a 3-day period to be screened, and anyone could go. It was done at the Berg Swan Auditorium, which was about 350 seats. And I would go whatever years I could make it, I would go and sit and watch all of the entries to the film festival. And I learned a lot of do's and don'ts of cinema watching those. And besides that, I lived across the street later on in the 80s and 90s, across the street from the museum, and I would attend all of the programming in the film center, which was also at the Berg Swan usually, which was fantastic. And I feel like I owe a large part of my film education to the Northwest Film Center. And I thank you for that. And I thank you for giving me the Cinema Unbound Award. And I'd like to congratulate all the other recipients. And thanks very much.
Thank you so much for joining us here tonight.
Thank you, everyone, and have a great night.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Good night, everyone. Thanks so much for being a part of Cinema Unbound.